On June 3rd, Barack Obama came to Toledo, Ohio to proclaim a recovery of the U.S. auto industry. But what Obama called a recovery is nothing but a newfound profitability for the automakers based on thousands of job cuts and a 50% wage reduction for new hires. More than 2 years since the Wall Street crash, the conditions of life for the working people of this city are getting worse every day.
Things aren't better. Foreclosures are an all-time high. 1 million last year, 2 million this year. Everyone's working more hours for less pay.
It just seems like you're losing everything that the people back in the old days fought for. You know, like your pay raises, your bonuses, your days off, your sick days. The new people that are going to be coming in ain't going to have no pension or health insurance or anything. Be like I said, 3 jobs if they're available. Living at home with your parents like in the old days. It'll be back like the Depression.
We have been buffaloed by our own government that working for less is a good thing.
I can't even make it with what I'm making here for 2 people. I'm the breadwinner of my household, and you know, my husband hasn't found a job in 2.5 years.
It's very hard to find work if you're just looking for a part-time or a minimum wage job even. It's hard to, and once you get into those minimum wage jobs, it's hard to get advancement. I know the wealthy gets tax breaks. After a certain amount of money made, I know that they get the rest of the money wrote off on their taxes and they don't have to pay as much. Whereas for me, I make, on a good year, I'll make maybe 10 grand, and almost half of that is, maybe a little less than half is taken. I can speak from experience as far as government housing and getting help from the government on tax breaks and everything else. It's really hard to get, even for school. That's why I still haven't gone to college full time, because I can't afford the loans and I can't get approved for any of the grants even though I make the required salary.
Family House is the largest shelter for families, homeless shelter for families in Northwest Ohio. We're the 2nd largest family shelter in the state of Ohio. We house families who have found themselves in the crisis of homelessness. I would say in the last 5 years, Family House has seen, and other organizations within Toledo, has seen an increase in need.
We have a lot of people that are from 18 years old, probably up to 30. We have probably 40% of people coming here are that group.
In terms of the type of clients that we're seeing, the type of families, we've really moved from those who are in generational poverty, and we're moving towards seeing more of the middle class families or former middle class families who, at no fault of their own, have lost their employment and lost their livelihoods. A lot of the educated families that we're seeing are those who are skilled tradesmen. A lot of people who are roofers and painters and involved in the construction field. If no one's building houses, they have no work. A lot of the middle class or the those who have bachelor's degrees, they have no work, and so they're taking the positions of the working poor.
It's difficult to find work, affordable home, a job.
I have advertised for a position it was a part-time position, did not require an educational degree, and I had masters and doctorates applying for that position.
There's just so much people out there looking for a job. There's just not enough jobs for the people.
The economic crisis has been felt deeply. I think it's crushed a lot of the sense of stability and hope. I think that children are seeing things. Children are seeing the impacts that their families are going through.
My parents are going through a separation right now because of just hard times, and we actually had our house foreclosed on. I've lived in that house all 20 years of my life and just recently had to move out.
Continually not being able to find a job perpetuates depression, anxiety.
We get a lot of people that with major depression and thoughts of harming themselves. They had 28 years in, they had 29 years in, they had 30 years in, and of course everything was taken away.
We don't have the money to provide services, and slowly but surely our partners in our community are seeing funding cuts. I've been an executive director for 12 years. This is the 3rd organization I have had executive leadership over. This is the first time I've actually been very afraid for our budget.
There was this program that came to Family House a couple weeks ago. The name of it is Real Talk. It was a very nice program, very educational, and it's a shame because, you know, there's not enough money to keep programs up to help the kids.
I have fear as an executive director. I'm watching the changes in Head Start happen. I'm watching the changes in our welfare system happen, and I know that's going to affect Family House as a whole.
I see services really being cut, even as far as the length of stay when you're in the hospital.
It is not a comfortable place to be at night when you're thinking about which programs are the most vital and which ones can I cut by the wayside because I can't afford to run them anymore.
The jobs aren't there. They're not there anymore.
I don't see why they don't have the WPA or the Public Works program to put people back to work.
They told me when I got my job at Champion, once a bank sees that you worked at Champion Sparkplug or at Libby Glass or the big three, you got a house, you got a car. I mean, they knew that we would have those jobs for life, that they were going to be around. And then all of a sudden they weren't around. I watched Champion go from 2 plants to 1 plant to a skeleton crew, and then what was left was sent to Iowa. You know, I watched the same thing happen at Chrysler. I watched Powertrain going from having, you know, a full parking lot on a Lexus to only a few cars there. The profits over people are taking down our entire world.